This
Okay,
Hey,
I don't know what's
Lynn.
happening. We may or may not be on YouTube. We may or may not be on Facebook, but at least we're getting started. So, hello.
And hello, Jenna. You are amazing. You
Well,
are
thank you.
all things resourceful. And I'm so glad we get to talk about travel tonight, which happens
Yeah.
to be your jam.
Yeah. So before we get started, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jenna Hostetler. I'm a travel advisor for couples who want to travel the world without the stress and the annoyance of planning their vacations. So that's what I do. I do a lot of honeymoons, destination weddings, anniversaries, and all sorts of just fun adventures for couples. So Letty and I were
And
talking about travel, and there were things that she knew her friends might want to know, and we're getting into big travel season. So we thought we would just come on here and tell you guys the ins and outs of finding the best travel deals so you don't get scammed. So you actually get what you want, so that you don't think you have a great deal and realize later on that there's a bunch of added things to it that you were not expecting.
yeah,
So
and
let's
having a
get started.
travel, Leah, let's dive right in. And for me, I know that having someone who is like a travel professional like you are, someone who is well aware, right, of what to look for, what to be weary of, what questions to ask, and to really have a partner, someone that can really, if you need hand holding, if you just need, some insights on, just packages or ideas to celebrate
Mhm.
special occasions. Um, I just love that I know you, Jenna, and my heart is to share with those that I know.
Do
To
you,
also,
hold on, do you have
yeah.
another microphone going? There's a lot of feedback.
Oh no,
Are we live somewhere and you're actually watching it? Are we on YouTube?
I just closed out YouTube. How's the feedback?
Okay, it's gone. Maybe we're live. I don't know.
Okay. Well, thank you for telling me because I want people to
Of
hear
course.
as well. Awesome. Well, there's no better place to start, probably no better conversation to have um, than travel, because to me, it's about adventure, it's about connection, traveling with family, with friends,
Mhm.
celebrating occasions, celebrating the holidays. So there's so many occasions, right? There's so many reasons that we get to experience life with travel, right? And so I know for us recently as a family, we were celebrating my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. And it was so much fun. There was a lot to plan. There were lots of families, and just a limited amount of time. So had we known, right? I mean, we can hopefully we'll talk a little bit about, planning, budgeting, how soon, if we know, obviously, like something like a 50th wedding, we knew in advance, right? But maybe we can, just talk about how, there's so many different occasions, right, where we get to celebrate life through travel,
Mhm.
build beautiful
I
memories.
love that. Celebrate life through travel. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and build memories, right? Oh my goodness. And with your work, right, with how you support your clients with travel, you are helping them celebrate all of that, right? Summer vacations, whether it's weddings, whether it's solo travel. Um
Yeah.
you
Yeah. A lot of people find me first for their honeymoon. And it's a great way to start. Oh my gosh, an amazing way to start your marriage, right? Go on an incredible honeymoon, go to the Caribbean, go to Hawaii, go somewhere, you're away from all the chaos of wedding planning, all that stress is behind you, and now you're on this incredible vacation. You're alone, there's no family, there's no friends, there's no other opinions, and you can just start your marriage off on an amazing trip. And then it's the 5-year anniversaries, it's those 50th anniversaries, maybe a vow renewal. It turns into a 30th birthday party, and just so many fun things. And I've even done I did a honeymoon for a couple, and then they were maid of honor and best man for a wedding. And so I did all of their pre-wedding fun stuff for, all the men went somewhere and all the women went to another resort, and just super fun stuff like that. Just lots of good excuses to get out and go places. And
Yes.
I've even heard there's a lot, you're talking about solo travel. There's a lot
Yeah.
of really good companies that do group trips, but you don't have to provide the group. You can just go and join any group that you want. And that's actually pretty popular as college or as high school graduation gifts. Like, especially if you don't really want to go to college right away. But can you imagine like sending your 18-year-old over to Italy for a week as a yay, woohoo, you're an adult, you're out of college. Oh my gosh, college, you're out of high school, but their itinerary, they're with safe people, they're with a reputable company, and you don't have to worry about them.
Wow. I can
Mm-hmm.
absolutely see that as being, something that can be super, what a beautiful that would be, right? Oh, such a
Yeah.
beautiful. Mm.
And so many people talk about, traveling to different countries, just changing your perspective on the world and life, and you learn so much about yourself when you're in those environments and you're alone, and you got to figure out who you are and how do you react to things. And that's a really cool way too to kind of just start adulthood. And people definitely catch the travel bug, and it's kind of a little bit addicting, but definitely an addiction I'm okay with. And yeah, it's just so much fun once you realize that it's not that hard to literally go to the other side of the world. It's just like all these possibilities are now
Right.
actually possible. Hmm.
Well, and how much of it, you really, because of what and your understanding of the industry and knowing kind of, you know, um, what are some, great opportunities and packages and that kind of thing. You really make the work super simple for the gift giving, and for the
Hmm.
traveler. So yeah, I mean, I feel like some of the questions often are, why do I need a travel agent? Like, why wouldn't I kind of go through looking at things? Are there advantages that you can speak about, and the way that you're able to hook up folks, with the work that you do and what you have access to that maybe if you're on the internet, trying to look at the very many, travel links out there,
Hmm.
right? Like, what are they missing when they're not talking to you about their travel plans?
Yeah, so my first answer to that is, why do you pay anybody to do anything so that you don't have to? Why do you not cut your own hair? Why do you not wash your own car? Why do you not change your own oil? Some people, don't mow their lawn. I mean, just because you don't want to, because you got things you're busy with. And if that's not your forte, it can take 5 times longer than it needs to. So, yeah, so I mean, why not be at work and shoot me a text of, hey, we actually want to go on these dates instead? And I say, okay, great. And then I go in and change your quote, or look up different things and see what the prices are. And it's so much easier. And a lot of people I work with, they are busy. They do have full-time jobs. They have a lot going on. And to be able to just send me a text and say, hey, we're actually like this resort, let's go with that one. Or hey, what about this country instead? Or what about these dates? Or to just
Yeah.
shoot me a text and it's handled, is even so much different than you having to wait on hold with customer service, or get to where you can get to your computer. It's such a time saver, and the
Yes.
convenience is, for a lot of people, it's really just worth it.
Right. And to know where to stay, right? To know, is this
Hmm.
community? Is this like it's great to have a menu and to have
Yes.
one that knows, like, you know, the,
Hmm.
this is what you want to do. This is where you want to go. And that's what I love, being able to offer that to people. And tell me a little bit about like when should folks get started? Like, should they be planning and to have like the best kind of looking at, when do things get more expensive?
Mhm.
Do you want to plan? What do you say in terms of
Yeah,
timing?
so
They reach out to
that's
you.
to say in general when things are the best price is really difficult because sometimes if we're coming up on a trip 6 weeks away and there's a ton of inventory, prices are dropped because they want to get you booked up. If we're coming on something that's 6 weeks away and there's one room left, you're
Okay.
going to pay for choosing to plan late. So that inventory and current rates change all the time. But what I like to tell people is, first of all,
Mhm.
if you can have an idea of what you want to, where you want to go and what you want to do, and you're relatively flexible, then as soon as a deal comes up, I can like send you an email or send you a message and said, hey, this deal just came up. It's something you've been looking at. Do you want to book it? So the flexibility is really like the ideal way to go about it. But
Yeah.
cruises right now are going at least through 2025, maybe even some 2026. I mean, there's some resorts where you can book two or more years in advance. So if you're doing something that's really going to book up, the sooner the better. And most of the time, too, you can always change your dates. So if you book a resort for the first week in February, but then you find out that if you change your dates by 3 days, your airline tickets are going to be half the price. You can call the resort and you can make the date change. And as long as there's space, it's not a big deal. So,
Oh,
yeah. So the biggest thing I've seen is all about your flights because airlines they don't do discounts. They don't need to do the discounts. You know, they the
good point.
pricing airlines are like my biggest pet peeve in the world. And we could do a whole thing on that. But their pricing is insane. It makes no sense, an upcharge for everything you could imagine. And there's no predictability in what prices are going to look like. They could go up, they could go down at any moment. And
Mhm.
if things change and you don't have travel protection, if you didn't pay that extra $100 or so to get a refundable ticket, then you've lost your money. So
Mhm.
in that instance, it's really great to bundle everything together, have one travel protection plan that protects it all, and they don't have to worry about it. But what I've seen some people do, and I think it's the smartest thing to do, is if
Okay.
you plan on being much of a traveler, get a credit
Mm,
card with miles. Because if your plane tickets are free or nearly free, then that opens up so many more possibilities. You're not looking at airlines to dictate when you can go, and
mm.
you could save up to like 50% of your vacation costs by not paying for air. And if you have a budget of $5,000 and your air is taken care of, you can have a totally different trip than $5,000 with air included because that will get you like almost nothing.
Oh my
So that would be
goodness.
my biggest tip is find a good credit card with airline miles, or if you can
Yeah.
always travel on the same airline and rack up points. I've had
Yeah.
people who travel Delta and they get bumped up to first class almost every time they fly because they have so many points. So that's incredible too.
Not only are you saved that, see, I love that because you get to travel even more when you're thinking about, right? Like what are some smart ways here to
Mhm.
yeah, to you know, be able to extend save here, and then you're able to, um yeah, travel more often.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. What about so I love that because I have was just thinking you've shared, that you have cruises that come, you have special offers that come up. So what
Mhm.
is the best way for folks to like, do they need to I mean, it's very open, right? Like they just stay connected with you through like following you on social, or what's the best way that they can reach out to you and stay in
Yeah.
touch?
So there is a link we're going to drop in the comments wherever this ends up getting posted. There will be a link somewhere. And if you click on that, you can submit your name and email, any certain vacation preferences you have, but that will put you on my list of people to alert when deals come out. So now that we're nearing the end of the year, of course, Black Friday, there's always things going on. But for travel, sometimes Black Friday deals can start early November. Sometimes deals don't come out until mid or late December. Sometimes, especially at the beginning of the year, there's always a ton of deals for cruises. So, as the consumer, like it's almost impossible to guess when and where you should look for the deals because they're very random. They last varying lengths of time. Sometimes, book now and travel through the end of the year. Sometimes it's book within
Okay.
this window, but travel for the next 18 months. So to know where to go and where to look to find the deals is like almost impossible. But
Right.
if I have your information, if I know what you're interested in, then as these
Yeah.
deals come to my inbox, I can just forward them to you and send them to you. And then you are basically on my radar for people to alert when awesome deals come up. So that's definitely the easiest way is to
Yeah.
get on my list for getting alerts for deals.
And that's such a great offering because without knowing you, Jenna, right? Like access to those deals, hard to come by.
For
So
sure. Yeah.
come
Unless
by.
you want to get on everybody's email list and then they'll drive you nuts the rest of the year.
And I love how you have an opportunity, like they can basically kind of, yeah, like let you know what are the countries or where they want to travel to.
Or
Um,
what type of travel? Yeah.
and what type, right? So we've
Mhm.
talked resorts, cruises, um,
Well, so we talked about it a little bit with the guided tours for like solo travel, but that's also can be a lot of fun for adults, for couples, for people who don't mind, being around other people, but it's not like you're stuck with them all the time. Like you have free time, and of course you can choose, where you do and what you go. It's like
hmm,
I was thinking about this the other day, and like if you when you go on a field trip, like in school, like you hang around with your friends, right? Like who cares if you don't like this other person in your class because you're not gonna be around them. So that's kind of what guided tours are like, except you're in like a five-star motor coach. All of your accommodations are handled. You breakfast is almost always handled. Several dinners are handled, and you get what do you want to call it? Priority access to most
hmm,
of the things you would go and see because these places are there all the time. These tour guides know these cities in and out, and you get to see things that looking visiting a place like Europe is so crazy, like Paris, London, Barcelona, all of those things. There's so much to do, and they're so
yeah,
filled with tourists. But if you were to do a group
hmm,
tour or even a semi-private guided tour with these
mhm,
people who know where the cool things are, what you don't need to see, and you get priority access. Like if you can skip line at the Colosseum when you're in Rome, that'll save you 2, 3, maybe even 4 hours on your trip. And then you can go and see twice as many things as the average person because you have that priority access, because you're with a group who goes there all the time and knows how to navigate it. So I would
wow.
say don't immediately write off group tours because you
Okay.
think it's going to be stiff and stuffy and you have no choice in where you go and what you do because they build in a lot of free time too. A lot of times it's let's take a half a day and give you a general tour of the city and then the rest of the day you can go do whatever you want. So
So
don't immediately write those off.
mhm,
Be a
mhm.
little open-minded because they can be really incredible stress-free ways to see a lot of places.
We recently learned that. My Frank has always been like, "Oh, not the group thing, like, we'll figure things out," and we kept, like, really there were times that we would try to go to places and there were no admissions for that day, like, and it's like,
Mm,
"Okay,"
mhm.
these but yes, for sure, we have had, I think we will definitely travel with that in mind moving forward. Because really it just, yeah, you do, I mean, and right? You're not trying, you're not trying to figure it out. I remember we spent at least an hour plus while we were traveling trying to then figure out, and it was like, yeah, you're
Yeah.
trying to enjoy experience
Mhm.
and
How
yeah,
much planning do you want to be doing while you're on vacation? Like all that should be handled beforehand.
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
So they could, so Jenna, right, people can, the travel, or we were just talking about the tours, um, that's a service you provide with the, when they book a trip, right? It's not like,
So that is something, there's certain companies that I know and like and would work with, and I basically provide you with what they have available. And a lot of those too, I mean, you can get a deposit for $200 for maybe a trip that isn't taking place for a year and a half or 2 years. So you can get that low deposit down and make payments, and you know that your spot is secured, you know that you're going to be going, you can plan and budget and all of that. And then you can keep an eye out for flights and get the air when it makes sense.
wow,
Hmm.
fantastic. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm learning, and I'm so happy that, yeah, we get to also, hook others up as well. And I can't wait. I know,
Yeah.
there's more to learn, right? And so we hopefully will be
Hmm.
able to, have more of these where we can talk about, as we get like different parts of the year. I love that idea for us to
Yeah.
continue to.
Well, and speaking of deals, I mean, right now, and this is total coincidence, there is a deal for Virgin Voyages, which is a fairly new, they're an adults only cruise line. They only have a few ships, but everything is actually included. So we could talk, maybe we could talk next time on cruises and what you get versus what you have to pay for in advance, and why those cruise fares look so amazing and then afterwards they're actually not. But Virgin Voyages is really great. They actually include everything. They include your Wi-Fi, they include your drinks, they include, there's no specialty restaurants, there's no upcharges. But right now they have 25% off almost all their itineraries, and you can book through next year. But when you book through my link that will drop in the comments again, you'll get an extra onboard credit depending on the room category. So you can get 50, $100, or $200 onboard credit to use anywhere. Use at the bar, use at the spa, use at the um, gift shop and all that stuff, and you can share it with anybody on board. So yeah, so that's a really great deal that's going on right now, and that does expire on the 31st. But really quick, because I know people love to
Yes.
look on sites like Expedia and TripAdvisor and all of
Yes.
that, there are a couple things to be aware of when looking for all inclusives. So not all inclusives are created equal by any means. They're very different. I know on Expedia a lot of times you'll see it says a European plan, which
Yeah.
basically means like breakfast is included, but that's it. So you'd have to pay for any other meals. You have to pay for, I think, maybe even excursions. Sometimes, even on Expedia, if it's really, really cheap, make sure that you're not only getting the room only, because I've seen that before too, where you can go to the exclusive resort and you have the room, but nothing is included because you didn't actually pay for it. So
Oh my goodness.
I know, right? So those are two things to look up if you're on those sites like Expedia, Orbitz, all of that, where it says it's a screaming deal. Well, there's a reason why. But also,
Yes.
as you're looking at resorts, as you're comparing them, the three biggest things I can say is look at how many restaurants there are, look at how many buffets there are versus specialty restaurants. So the buffets are always open to everybody. The specialty restaurants usually are only available to certain room categories, or you have to pay for them. And if it requires a reservation. I've had people go to a resort down in Mexico, tons of great restaurants, but all of the reservations were booked up. So they could only eat at certain restaurants because the other ones were full. And you can't make your reservations in advance usually. You have to wait until you're actually on resort to make your reservations. So you get to resort, you go to make reservations at all these great restaurants, and they're all filled up. So you're stuck with the buffets, which can be, I mean, it's not a big deal for some people, but if you're at a resort for like 5, 6, 7 days, like,
For
do
my
you want
brain.
to eat the same thing all the time? Because I definitely do not. I mean, maybe breakfast, I don't know,
Mhm.
but you want variety and you want to be able to enjoy it all. So to actually have access to it is totally different than it being there. And, technically it's an option. And the
Mhm.
other thing is looking at alcohol. I know some people, it's not a big deal. Some
Mhm.
people, you go and you want the good stuff. So I've
Mhm.
also heard too where people, they realize that the drinks have like almost no alcohol in them. And because it's all inclusive, it's free. So they were just ordering extra shots with all of their drinks because they were so, either it was the cheap stuff or there was just so little in there. But yeah, that too. Looking at, do you actually want to drink the good beers, the good wines, or are you okay with the cheap stuff? And if you are, fine. But if you're not, make sure that that is not all an extra charge, because sometimes, especially in Mexico, it's only the domestic stuff that is included. So,
Wow.
yeah.
These
And then
these
water sports too.
Mhm.
So I've learned, so I'm so used to booking sandals that I forget how much the others don't include, because it's sandals. I mean, everything is actually included, like unlimited water sports. It's things like water skiing and
I didn't know.
tubing and paddle boarding and all the good stuff, and unlimited snorkeling. And in other places, snorkeling's almost always included, but
Mhm.
sometimes there's a time limit on there. So maybe you can go snorkeling for an hour at a time or an hour a day, which
Oh,
is like okay, but like maybe you just want to be in there all day. And sometimes the only other free thing is like kayaking, and almost always water skiing and scuba is always an extra charge. So look at what, and it's almost impossible to see
mm.
online what's included, and it's really, really frustrating. But you sometimes have to like call the resort and call the manager and like really dig deep to figure
Or
out what water sports are actually included. So just be
right.
aware of that. You know, if you're going to lounge on the beach and drink cocktails, who
Yeah.
cares? But if you want to go and you want to have fun
Mhm.
and you want to scuba dive and you want to do all the fun things, make sure that either it's included or just be willing, be prepared to pay for it if you have to. And if you don't, then great, but I'd
Yeah.
rather you go knowing that you might need to pay for it than to expect it to all be included and be really disappointed that it's not.
Yeah, it would definitely be a damper if that's a surprise and, you here
Mm-hmm.
you are. Yeah, and then unfortunately, we want the good memories when we
Right.
travel,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm really yeah, it's great perspective. Great
And
perspective.
it's kind of similar with cruises too, where there's
Mhm.
that, starting at 249 per person, but they
Yeah.
never include taxes and port fees, which you can never get away from. Gratuities are always required, so even if you don't pay for them up front, they will get added to your super bill before you leave that ship. So taxes,
Oh.
port fees, gratuities, I mean, can easily be 150 or more per person. So just be aware of that. And sometimes even
Mm.
it can be a balcony room that's a great price, but it might be an interior balcony. So on ships like Royal Caribbean, they have this amazing, I forget what ship it's on, but they have this amazing central park on the inside of the ship, and they have balcony rooms, which would be really cool to have a
Mhm.
balcony over that area where there's all these shopping centers and there's like trees and gardens and really cool stuff. But it's not an ocean view balcony. And of course, when you say balcony, you're expecting to look over at the ocean. So if it's a really great balcony price, you
Huh.
might be looking at the inside of the ship and not the ocean. So
No
lots
way.
of if you see an amazing cruise deal that you're like, this is too good to be true,
Mhm.
look at it and be curious,
Mhm.
but go to the final checkout page where they actually want you to insert your information to get what the real
Mhm.
price is.
Wow. That that's solid advice.
Yeah, it's not real. If it's too good to be true, it's not real until you see that checkout button.
Mhm. You don't wanna skip through that fine print because of all these things you're
Mm-hmm.
saying, right? Now, and the
Yeah.
beautiful thing is, Jenna, that with all your experience, right? Like, you anyone who has any questions, right? Whether, I mean, I'm sure you would welcome having anyone call, or not call,
Yeah,
but
of
reach
course.
out to you,
Just
right?
shoot me
Reach
an
out.
email. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, I know your heart, and I know that you really love, yeah, being with people through, and serving them through travel, and helping to. I love what you said once, to have epic, right? Was it epic travel experiences? Like that's you.
Mm-hmm.
Roll out the.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna go and have fun. I mean, I'm the person, and I think a lot of my clients are too, who would rather do, an epic, incredible, awesome, pretty pricey vacation every several years instead of
Mhm.
something that, is just okay and go every year, or you always go to the same place every time. Like, make it
Yes.
worth it. See the world. Make your anniversary, make your honeymoon, make your time with your family, like make it memorable, make it awesome, make it something to really remember.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful. I think that's a wonderful way to, at least for tonight anyway, or for this, right, to just, I mean, what a beautiful, vision we can end on, right? It's like, we get you're there's so many beautiful things that you get to celebrate and beautiful people you get to travel with, right? Or if even for the solo traveler, we learned tonight that there's opportunities, yeah, there's great things for everyone. And I'm just so happy that, Jenna, I get to share you with the folks that I know that love to travel, and that you have an open heart to, certainly, talk with anyone that is interested in booking their travel. And I love how
Mhm.
you just, even tonight, highlighted um, the what's available. And for
Yeah.
those who are ready,
Mhm.
like, we'll put the link so they reach out to you, and I'm, also can direct them to you. But I look
Yeah,
forward to
for
being able
sure.
to do more of this, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
more travel shares. Um,
Yes, tips and tricks, and I'm just gonna plant that nugget, like, going on vacation for Thanksgiving or Christmas is not a bad idea. Like, especially, like, I mean, for us, we don't get together with family, we always get together in the summertime. So, Thanksgiving is just another day, so why not go on vacation? Why
right.
not go on a cruise?
Yes, and how simple are you making it? Because
Mhm.
you
All
you
fun, no stress.
yeah, exactly. Right, right. Don't worry
Mhm.
about the planning. Just reach out to Jenna. She'll help you with making that vision possible. So, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Jenna. I appreciate it,
Well,
and I
thank
look
you
forward.
for initiating this. This was a lot of fun, and we will
Yeah,
leave comments. What do you guys want to know about? Destinations, types of travel, things to look out for. Whatever you want to know, we'll get it covered. So this was super
yeah,
fun. Thank you guys for patience with technology, and we will do this again.
for sure. Good night.
Night.